So I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible for you. But first of all, I want to go over what we are looking for that does not belong before we ever look at a credit report. Okay. And I have my list right here. So where's your list? You need to get your pen, your paper, whatever you're going to take notes on. Okay. So these should not be on a credit report. And this is what you're looking for during an analysis. Okay. Monthly payment on a closed account, especially a charge off. Okay. So you're going to see that Experian normally reports it accurately with no monthly payment, but you will find that sometimes it will be on there. But just remember, no monthly payments on closed accounts. Okay. It's going to screw up your numbers. Okay. Balances on transferred accounts. If the account was transferred or sold, that means that company A no longer holds the account, meaning owns it, and now company B owns it, which means that there should no longer be a balance, a past due, or a monthly payment. And same thing, like I said, monthly payments, balances, or past due. The rest of the things can actually report on there, like limit, original amount, that type of thing, but you are specifically looking for that. And then a charge off that states charged off but has no balance, it does not state that it's been transferred or sold. Obviously, it should be marked as paid, right? So those are the things that you're looking for. Monthly payments on closed accounts, balances, monthly payments, or past due on transferred accounts, and no balance doesn't state transferred or paid. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And now just remember, this is going to work on let me just figure out what screen that I want. Okay, this is going to work on accounts like student loans, late payments, collections, charge-offs, foreclosures, and repossessions. Okay? Balance is the same. Credit limit is not the same. Experian has $28,797 and Equifax doesn't have anything. If you look at the high balance right here where my cursor is at, you're going to see that Experian normally does not have a high balance. So what we're doing is we're looking for the things that are disputable on a credit report. Okay, so that would be anything that doesn't match, anything that is missing, anything that is even the payment history, okay? So the payment history is not in color on here, just because I did a screenshot, well, printed my screen, but you will see that late payments are in bold while paid as agreed are going to be not bold. Okay, so let's go down. That one's okay. And let me get rid of this thing on the screen right here. All right. So we have our next account, American Express. So you will see that the balance is the same, but once again, the credit limit is not there on TransUnion Equifax. Look at the past due right here though. $214,439 versus $65,000 versus the same exact thing as Experian. So that is disputable. How is one account going to have different information from the same creditor? So what you need to do is mark down these accounts, and I will give you what I use for progress reports. I'll give you the cheat sheet so that you have kind of like a guide on what to dispute or how to dispute and who you're supposed to dispute with, as well as your tracking sheet. So first thing that you want to do is write down all of your accounts that are negative and why they're negative. Put your notes. So this one would be American Express, and American Express always starts with 349992 or 34992, okay? So you're going to put American Express, 34, whatever it is, and the reason for dispute. So with Experian, you're going to write balance, X amount, TransUnion, balance, X amount, Equifax, balance, X amount. Another thing is that this was actually disputed and there's no notice of dispute. That's another thing that you're looking for. Right here in comments, it's the last box. There's no notice of dispute. It should say disputed by consumer, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so let's go find the next one. And you can, of course, look through the payment history to verify whether they're reporting the same dates. If they are not reporting the same dates, then that means that you need to dispute it. So now, this one is reporting inaccurately, but it doesn't have all three, so let's just skip past that one and look at this one. Credit limit, once again, Experian and TransUnion are not reporting a credit limit. the Experian is not reporting a high balance, that's disputable because it's missing. Remember that accounts must be accurate, complete, and verifiable. So if an account is incomplete, it means it's missing something. Where is the limit? Where's the notice of dispute? Where's the original amount? So on and so forth. That is disputable, okay? So you can also see that the terms are different. 1 month, nothing, and M. You can see that the open date is different, the 1st versus the 22nd of the month. All of these things are things that you want to dispute because it's going to get it off. They have to do an investigation and prove why it's reporting, why it's reporting the way that it is and that it's accurate. So the accounts that are not open are actually positive. So we're just going to scroll down to another account, okay? So, and I know that the next account is actually going to be Mercedes, I believe. All right, let's go find it. Mercedes, where are you? Okay, so repossession. Now, here's another thing. The reason I opened this is because it does have the notice of dispute, and it doesn't have that much to actually dispute, okay? So look right here on the first thing, has account number, which I've redacted, and then it has the terms and the type. Okay, so the type is actually listed as a credit card. You obviously know this is going to be an installment loan, okay? Another thing is that this account was actually paid, and it's showing a balance of $41,562. That is disputable. Even if it wasn't paid, dispute it. It's a balance. It's there. Dispute it. They have to go and actually verify this amount. What is missing? The limit is missing, although if this was a credit card, it would be reported, okay? But this is a loan, so it's not going to be on there. But the original amount of the loan, such as $50,000, $60,000, $5, whatever it is, should be reported on here, and it's not here. But look at comments. Consumer disputes, reinvestigation in progress, involuntary repossession. This is now in compliance with the FCRA section 623 that states that within 30 days of the receipt of the first dispute, that the notice of dispute must be on there. So that's why I opened that to show you. Also to show you what to do if you only have one bureau to dispute, or what to do if you don't have that much on there to dispute, okay? So here we have a collection, states recovery system. Okay, you're going to use the validation of debt for this. This is the VOD letter, and you can find that. I might be able to put a link down in the description for you with the other links, but you can find that on my website, expertcreditsweeps.com/VOD, validation of debt. And it's VOD letter 1, okay? You're going to use the VOD on the state's recovery and any other non-credit card related collections that you find. Okay, so now let's look at TD Auto. So there's a couple of them, but this one I'm showing you specifically because the monthly payment. So look right here where it says monthly payment. This is a charge off. You see how it says charge off? Charge off is bad debt in place for collection and skip. There should be no monthly payment, yet Equifax and TransUnion are reporting a monthly payment of $10.71. It does not belong on there. Dispute it. Get the whole account taken off, okay? So the only original amount on here is going to be with Experian once again. Moving along to the next TD Auto. Okay, so as you can see, there's a balance, there's a past due. 2 bureaus are missing the high balance. 2 bureaus are reporting a monthly payment. Remember, no. And there's no original amount across all 3. Dispute this stuff. Where's the high balance? Why is there a monthly payment on here? Where is the original amount? You can even dispute Equifax reporting this as a credit card. Why is this reported as a credit card when, once again, this is an installment loan? Okay, so moving down on here. I think there's one more account. Yes, US Bank. Okay. So with US Bank, this is going to be for late payments. Okay, so you can see in the terms revolving minimum M. Now, first of all, I want to tell you, you want to dispute late payments first, meaning I wasn't late on X date. But if that doesn't work and it's imperative that you get the late payments taken off, dispute something else on the account to get the whole thing taken off. Okay, so you can see that the high balance is fine across all three, the credit limit's fine, the balance is fine. But if you are able to see the actual late payments, they're not reporting accurately across all three. So you can dispute the late payments and send a copy of this whole thing that you're seeing right here, but in color on your printable PDF. You're going to dispute it and, mark it up. Get a highlighter, get a highlighter, get your pen, and you're literally going to go, hey, you see this late payment right here? This is not correct. This is why it's not correct. This needs to be removed. You're going to mark it all up and send it. So I'm going to show you the dispute letters that I've sent and why I've sent them. And I have used these in previous videos, but I'm going more in depth. Remember, I'm showing you what to do with the actual information, what you're looking for, what shouldn't be there, and how to create your disputes. Okay, so this goes with the TD Auto accounts, and you see how simple I've made this? TD Auto, TD Auto, TD Auto. I've redacted the client information and the account numbers, but everything else is as exactly as it was when I sent it, okay? So you see how simple I've made it? It's very unclear to me how you could say that these items were verified after I sent the actual documentation proving that they're wrong. These need to be deleted. And then each account is listed with the reason, okay? All three bureaus should be reporting the same information. What also doesn't make sense is that Experian and Equifax report a monthly payment of 0 while TransUnion reports 1071. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking the information that I put down on my sheet, and then I put it onto, my progress report or my analysis. And that's what I do with clients, but you could do this for your own credit so that you can keep track of what's being disputed, what's been deleted, and what still remains, okay? And even with your scores so that you can see a difference. So anyways, you're taking the information from your notes and your analysis or progress report, and then you're creating your disputes. So anyways, take this information and put it into the dispute letter. Remember, we talked about the balance. The balance is different. The late payments are different, and these are the actual amounts. And then send the copy of the credit report showing, once again, with your highlighter and your pen, boop, 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 this is what I'm talking about. Here's my arrows. Here's my highlighter, and this is what I'm talking about. This late payment here, it doesn't match this. Trust me, looking like a real consumer is going to get you these deletions. Now, if you are a company and you're providing services for consumers, meaning clients, this does seem like a lot of work, but trust me, this is how you get the results, and this is how you make your clients happy, and this is how you have a great reputation, okay? So now, this is a template letter. Yes, I tell you all the time, do not use template letters, right? But this is like a couple disputes in, they haven't done anything, you know that they're not investigating, and you want to force them to do an independent investigation. You can use this dispute letter, okay? And it's very, very simple. I requested that you actually, verify these or whatever, investigate them. Here's the accounts. You refused, and if you had actually, if you had investigated properly rather than using the eOscar system, you would have known that these are reporting inaccurately, are unverifiable, and must be deleted, though your company claims to have verified these. Okay, so and although it says this, you can change that to these. I just noticed that error right there. And then yes, I do put it in the Cushman versus TransUnion for a reason, because they're not allowed to just repeat what they've heard from the creditors, okay? So this is a couple months in when you haven't either gotten results or they're, not doing what they're supposed to do or whatever, okay? Do not send that out as a first, second, third, or fourth dispute. This is a couple months in. And I'm also going to tell you the other remedies that you have as well as, aside from disputing with the bureaus. Okay, so this has to do with TD Auto, American Express, Bank of America, and U.S. Bank. And I showed you everything except for Bank of America because I forgot that Bank of America was even on there. So the reason I'm showing you this is if you look at Bank of America, it says balance of 5826 should state 302. Now, I'm not saying that I'm lying. but I'm not saying that it's accurate, okay? This person did not pay it down to 302, okay? When you are grasping at straws, you still need to have a reason. You still need to justify why you're saying something is wrong, okay? So, and I've used this before, when you call your boss because you're late, you're not going to say, hey, I was late, I'll be there in 10 minutes, and then just hang up. You're going to say, hey, you know what, I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm going to be, I'm running 10 minutes late, whatever. But the reason that I'm running late is because I had to drop my son off at daycare. I had to bring my mom to the dentist real quick. And, it took 10 minutes longer, blah, blah, blah. You're justifying, and your boss is like, oh, no problem, okay? So you want to state your reason. You're going to state, I want you to delete this because blah, 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 okay? So now we have, let me just get rid of a couple of things because they're taking up the whole thing. Okay, sorry, I was talking about my tabs. So now we have the PDF version of credit check total, and this is a different file. And yes, I've used this in a different video, but it goes to show you about monthly payments and late payments reporting on accounts that shouldn't be there, okay? This is very, very important, and you need to pay attention to this. Okay, so this premier one, both of these show that there is a monthly payment of $58.10 on a closed account. It says closed right here. And on top of that, it says 60 days past due. But do you see how there's no balance? If I was late by 60 days, I would have a balance of X amount. Otherwise, I would not be late, right? Okay, so if someone's late, there should be a balance. Otherwise, it means it was transferred. If it's transferred, it needs to report as transferred. If it doesn't report as transferred, then it's not allowed to report on there, okay? That's another thing that should go on your list of things that should not be on your report. And you know what? I'm going to write that down real quick. Just give me 2 seconds. All right, I'm done. Okay, so look at the late payments on this. September through November of 2015, and then January of 2016. So I disputed this information. The second account reports the same information, which I'm sure you were looking at while I was talking. 60 days past due with a monthly payment of $13.75. And you see all these lates down here. Okay, so this was a very, very difficult file for me because I had to actually dispute with not only the bureaus, not only the creditors, but I also had to make complaints with the CFPB and the AG, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the Attorney General to actually get this taken care of. And I had the proof, which you're looking at. Remember, I told you to mark up your report and send it with your dispute letters. I had to go that far just to get this stuff corrected. And as you can see, this first one was corrected. It does still have a monthly payment on there, but the whole point was now it's reporting as paid as agreed with no late payments, okay? So this one, the same thing. You see how I highlighted it here at the bottom? No late payments. And yes, it still has $13.75, but it says paid as agreed. So remember, no balance, yet stating that you're late equals incorrect. Okay, so make sure to put that on your list of things that should not be on there. Now remember, this is going back to analyzing your credit report and what to look for. Okay, so this is also taken from another video, but it goes along with what I'm stating. So remember how I said you want to justify your reasons for disputing? You're going to see that I have this very simply listed, okay? So this is what I call a no proof letter. And you don't want to copy what I'm writing. This is just to give you an example, okay? So this is using section 609 without sending that stupid 609 template letter, okay? So using section 609 without sending a template letter and condensing the meaning behind it to use it as your defense. Section 609 states that it's, to protect you against false reporting by the creditors and the credit bureaus, and they, when requested, they are supposed to send you the actual documentation that was filled out, such as the contract or and/or application and business transactions from when this account was opened. So let's say that there's an account that you don't know. You're going to say, what? You're going to say there's no proof of this and I need to see business transactions, application, contracts, so on and so forth, pursuant to Section 609, okay? You don't need to send a 609 dispute letter. Okay, so frustrated with your negligence. So there's a couple points to this. I'm just going to jump over this quickly because I'm sure that you guys have seen the video that I actually used this in. But frustrated with your negligence is where, you know, they're continuing to state that something's been verified, and yet you're sending in your credit report copies or your documentation backup, or you've disputed with the bureaus and the creditors and you made complaints, whatever. So you need to state, this is what I'm disputing. Here's the actual proof that you're disputing it wrong, such as, how is there a tax lien reporting with a balance when I've sent you proof that it's been paid? Or why does company blah, blah, blah show 3 different balances? And once again, send that proof with it. You're going to still get you just need to get to someone else or to a different person that's going to put a different code into the system, or that's not going to send it at all to a creditor, because they don't do that with tax liens anyways, or judgments or bankruptcies or whatever. You just need to get to the right person. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of persistence. But remember, you're angry with this. Why? Why are you still doing this when I'm sending you this proof? Okay, so this is literally when you are just at the end of your rope. Okay, so just keep it simple is my entire point. Remember, take the information from your credit report and put it into a dispute letter. Okay. So I'm a real person and just need some help. Remember, we talked about justifying. So because I thought my credit was actually much better than what I'm seeing, please open my file and send me the docs. So you already know that they are not, they don't have the documentation in your file or whatever. They're just using EOSC or sending it into the creditors using a 2-digit code and all that kind of stuff. But the entire point is that you don't know that as a regular consumer, okay? So take what I was telling you, such as, how can there be no balance on this charge off, and also show that it hasn't been transferred or sold. Shouldn't that state paid charge off, or paid as agreed, or paid whatever? Please delete this info from my account or my credit, whatever. So you see how you're not taking these law heavy or 55-page dispute letters and then turning them into, frivolous disputes or whatever. You're just taking the information from your report, making it real simple. This is why I'm disputing. Remember, justify. Assume that they actually have the proof, because you already know that they don't. Okay. So now I do want to tell you though, you need to know, and this is in another one of my videos, how to use what type of dispute should be used for what type of account, okay? So with creditor disputes, after you disputed with the bureaus, you can then send a Section 623 direct dispute. Yes, you can use a template. If it's a collection and it's non-credit card related, because I'm sure you guys know that I say don't dispute directly with those collection agencies unless it's actually unknown, you're going to VOD it, okay? If it's, if it's, you're disputing the bankruptcy or judgment or tax lien, that is a bureau dispute only. If you're disputing charge-offs and foreclosures and repossessions, that's a bureau plus creditor dispute. But be careful with repossessions, because if it's under 2 years, you're still in that like super suable time. You just want to be careful and dispute with the bureaus only. Okay. If it's longer than 2 years, there's a letter out there that you can use that will get the repossession off. If it doesn't work, by disputing the balance past due, monthly payments, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, this is the letter that I used to get that. I remember that account with Premier One that was reporting the 5810 monthly payments and the 1375. I got it taken off with this letter, as well as a copy of the CFPB complaint and the AG complaint that I sent. So I just took that and stuck it into this letter, and I was super frustrated when I wrote this because, I'm doing this for the client, so it's like it's my credit, you know what I mean? So anyways, that's brain fart, sorry. Okay, so that was what I was also going to tell you about is, and here's another one for Premier One, where I put, Cushman versus TransUnion, all that kind of stuff into it. So the entire point is that if it doesn't work with the bureaus, If it doesn't work with the creditors and or collection agencies, take it a step further and make a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Attorney General, BBB, FTC. I mean, just do whatever you have to. Press releases. I mean, who cares? You need to get these things off. Now, a lot of you that are watching this we're just working on your own credit, but there's some of you that are actually, working on client files, and you can file those complaints for them and all that kind of stuff. But I know this seems like a lot to do versus just sending, these template letters. And that's why this is the last letter on here that I'm telling you not to use. But it gets the results, guys. And, I do this much differently than other companies because I get the results. So this is the last thing that I physically want to show you, but this is a letter you do not want to send. The reason you do not want to send it is because it's like 900 pages. It's actually 3 pages. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, where you actually stick your, copies of your ID and your SSN and your proof of address, okay? So there's all this crap in here that doesn't need to be in here, like this right here. Pursuant to Section 1681, a credit reporting agency may be required in certain circumstances to verify the accuracy of its initial source of information, blah, blah, blah. Please don't respond to my request by saying that these accounts have been verified by the information provider. I did not give your company permission to publish unverified information on my file. Like, why are you even going through all that? Take what I taught you, turn it into a simple dispute, and you are going to get the job done. Trust me on this. This is what I do every day, all day long, and it works, guys. So let's just do a quick recap, okay? So what you are looking for that should not belong on your credit report. Okay, remember, number 1, monthly payments on charged off or closed accounts, even if they're paid as agreed. Because remember, it's going to jack up your numbers in the summary, and when a creditor pulls your credit report, they're going to see that you're actually paying much more in monthly payments than you actually are, and because of that, you might not get the account or the credit with them. Okay, monthly payment on closed accounts, balances or past due or monthly payments on transferred accounts, and then no balance doesn't state transferred or paid, and saying that it's past due without having any balances. Now, let's get to student loans, because I've already showed you actually how to remove them. So most of the time, let's just use, what did I run into today? U.S. Department of Ed. I actually had someone sign up that had like 50,000 of them. I mean, I literally have it right here next to me where there's like 95 different items, and they're all student loans, and they all had different balances. And some of them had monthly payments, even though they were in collections. And some of them were showing that, the experience had transferred, but TransUnion and Equifax said 120 days late. You see where I'm going with this? Dispute the balance, because it's not accurate across all 3. And even if it is, dispute the balance, okay? If there's the monthly payment on there, it doesn't belong on there. It's a closed account. If it says transferred, it shouldn't say 120 days past due. Why? Because that company no longer owns that account. It should state by law in the FCRA, it says if the company no longer owns the account, it must state transferred or sold. Otherwise, it cannot report on the credit file, okay? So that's also how you get off the so Nelnet, U.S. Department of Ed, ACS, like any of those. Now, all of them are not going to report that way, but you will see a ton of the time that it's going to be reporting transferred versus 120 days or, monthly payments on it, whatever. So that was the big one, the actual student loans, but I'm just doing my recap right now, and that just kind of popped into my head. So we have the student loans, charge-offs, foreclosures, repossessions, and late payments. So the only thing we really didn't touch on is personal information inquiries and public records. So that is it for this evening. I definitely appreciate you purchasing this, and I'm already recording actually for the 5-part video series, which is going to break down by subject how to remove charge-offs, how to remove inquiries, how to remove personal information, because remember, it's attached to your negative information, how to remove bankruptcies, tax liens, and judgments, And then, if you are running a company, how to set up your clients and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be just like this, where there's a link that you click on, you pay, and it drops you right down onto the video series. So anyways, thank you. Have a great evening. If you have not subscribed, make sure to, because I'm going to know I'm watching you. Just kidding. Anyways, that's it from Expert Credit Sweeps. I hope you actually learned a ton, because that's what I, obviously wanted you to do. And I will see you guys next time.